Well, howdy, folks. Trying something new this week, in part because when I'm typing up my blogs, I'm one to agonize over individual words, and before I know it, a blog that could easily have been written in the span of half an hour, I've been working at for 3 to 4 hours. And with student teaching winding down, I'm trying my hardest to be present with the limited amount of time I have with students. And that also requires me to be more efficient with my time outside of the classroom to make sure that I'm planning appropriately and that all activities are up to snuff in terms of what I'm actually going to be teaching in the classroom. So instead, we're trying this out. This may be the only time you get this, depending on how it goes and what people think. But I at least wanted to try out this vlog once because, well, technically I held up two there. One time, because I got the approval from the student teaching coordinator at Penn State that said, hey, that's good. So cool, let's talk about it. Speaking of Penn State expectations for student teaching, Monday was my formal observation with my university supervisor, the legendary Dr. John Ewing. He sat and chilled in the back of the classroom all day, and honestly, for most of the day, it felt like he wasn't there at all. In terms of the fact that I was just teaching and forgot that he was there, which is a good thing. I was in the zone, I was locked in with my students. We were talking about why equine breeds exist, introducing four-stroke theory and ag mechanics. I thought I was going to get to two-stroke theory, but as always, your lesson plans need adapted and changed, so we got to that on Wednesday after me and Mr. Anderson were out on Tuesday for regional public speaking. And then finally, we rounded out with Greenhouse completing a scavenger hunt, per se, of different greenhouse pests in the greenhouse. I actually felt kind of bad. I had students convinced that there was actually a pest problem in the greenhouse. I got remarks of, oh, Gabel, this was the only thing I had going for me. Joking that students got a lot of promise. But it was cool to see them actually swap gears then and think, oh, shoot, like what happens if we do have pests in here? To then being a little bit more calm, but excited to find little cards hidden around the greenhouse that had pests that they would then need to identify and figure out how to actually treat if they were in the greenhouse. All that being said, observation went well, and after some commentary with Mr. Geib on Tuesday, I feel the need to say this to any future student teacher coming out of Penn State. I feel like sometimes when your university supervisors come in, it feels like the boogeyman is suddenly showing up. They're there to help. Yes, they are completing a formal observation. They're going to give you feedback. Some of that feedback you're not going to like at first, but it's all meant to help you grow and develop. So be vulnerable with them. I mean, that's their whole reason why they're doing this job is to help future teachers be the best that they can be. So that's that aside. Penn State did not pay me to say that, but please do not fear your university supervisor. Additionally, with more updates, I'm super proud of our parliamentary procedure team. We placed third in the Eastern region on Tuesday. We'll be advancing to the state level. So awesome work by their part. It's also made me reflect on what it means to be a coach and how many hours I put into coaching that team. And it's a lot. Parliamentary procedure is a different beast. And honestly, I feel like I could have planned better throughout the semester for that, but it was one of those things where the team said, oh, we're going to make a team on Friday. First practice was the following Tuesday, and we just got to rolling right off the bat. So if anybody wants to take on the endeavor of coaching a parliamentary procedure team, plan it out accordingly. And also, if you can, start before January because that was a little hard on little Gabel deciding which motions that we were going to teach before competition and crossing our fingers that other motions just weren't going to be on the card. We also had a student who placed first in extemporaneous public speaking who sadly needs to now pick between extemp and parliamentary procedure. Either decision that she makes is perfectly fine. We also had a student qualify for the state level in senior prepared public speaking. So cool day on Tuesday. The rest of the week was awesome as well. So Monday through Thursday, we were gearing up in Ag Mechanics 1, teaching them about four-stroke, two-stroke theory, parts of an engine, before we actually got into the shop on Friday through next Wednesday before spring break to service different lawnmower engines that teachers and students in the class have been bringing in. And it was awesome to see that actually kick off into action. We had one riding mower and then 7 push mowers that we serviced. So change the oil, regap the spark plug, sharpen the blade. And it's just cool to see students that wouldn't otherwise get that opportunity to build skills that they can actually use in the real world to save some money. And as a teacher, this is a discussion that me and Mr. Anderson had, especially when it's other people's engines. You need to make sure that you check thoroughly as to what students are doing. Yes, they're still learning and they're awesome and they're doing a great job, but we had a couple of blades that were put upside down that we needed to check before we actually gave them back to their owners. So as much as we want to give students autonomy, sometimes it still comes back to us as teachers to make sure, hey, final check. Did that work, or do we need to make some adjustments? But as much as we can, I think it's awesome for us to combine learning opportunities with actual engagement with our community and stakeholders. There were multiple teachers that I was meeting for the first time because they were bringing in engines, but they were just really excited saying, man, I love when you guys do this project every single year. And they get a discount in their service of an engine. They only pay $10 for all those different services. And students get to learn how to do it so they can save money in the future by servicing their own lawnmower engines. I'm doing a lot of rambling right now. Thank you if you're still here. I want to give a couple other updates about a contest that I was involved in as a high school student that now I have a couple of students that are actually participating in it this past week, and we have one more that's going to round us out on Tuesday, and that is the Teach Ag Essay Contest. Woo, woo. I contribute that contest a lot to why I actually ended up as an agriculture and extension education major at Penn State. I taught about GMOs to a class at Newport High School. Admittedly, there were some of my friends in that class, which made it a little bit harder to teach because they were just like, what is Thomas doing at the front of the class? And I was like, I don't really know, but we're trying something new. And it was cool. But two different experiences happened for students. I told them to plan for 45 minutes, so half of the block. That way, if they needed a little bit more time, they didn't feel super rushed. So I had one girl named Charlie, who's on our parliamentary procedure team, who she knocked it out of the park. But her 45 minutes of planning turned into the entire 90-minute block. And that's part of her reflection process of her realizing that she didn't really know how long activities were going to take, especially with her answering student questions and parliamentary procedure being a content area that not a lot of people have knowledge of already. So that was cool for her. On the flip side, though, one of my greenhouse students, Liam, taught on Friday, thought he had 45 minutes planned, only had about 30. Now, we were able to round that out with some different discussion as he was teaching about cacao, had a cool taste testing lab. So we had cacao pods with the pods that you don't actually want to bite into because they're super bitter, but you just kind of like suck off the pulp. We also had cacao nibs that we got to taste and then some chocolate as the finished product. But we finished that with a discussion on child labor and child slavery. And is this chocolate worth it because of the origins as to where it's made? So that was cool to hear students do that. That's a whole bunch of stuff that I'm rambling about. It is weird, folks, that this is the end of week 13. I have 3 days next week in week 14. Week 15 is a 4-day week because we got spring break in the middle there, and I'm done with student teaching. That was weird for me to talk with my equine students about. When I told them that the last time I would teach their classes next Wednesday, they looked like I had just kicked a puppy dog. And I love puppy dogs, so that makes me sad. But no, like it's been cool. It's been an awesome ride thus far to get this far in student teaching and just see the impact I've been able to have on students, to see how just a little bit of investment in a student can make a big difference. We have students that came in really not wanting to talk at all that now actively participate in class discussions, been able to have some conversation with students about future career paths. And it's been awesome overall. So that's an update from me. I am rambling at this point, learning a lot, having fun. For those in my cohort, keep pushing, keep investing in students. And if you have any questions, email me. My email's linked on the blog. You can either send it to tsg5162@psu.edu or Thomas_Gabel@etownschools.org. I love to chat about absolutely anything relating to student teaching. And yeah, so you got about 9.5-ish minutes of me rambling as opposed to reading my blog, which this is probably going to take you more time. So apologies, but it took me less time. So thank you for riding along with me. Blog, vlog, out. Peace.